All right. Because if people knew more about the immune system, it would have been really helpful. If people know the truth about something, then they can't be fooled or manipulated in any way. So it's good that people are taking the practitioner courses that we had on special for 50% off for Cyber Monday and Black Friday. If you took those practitioner levels, congratulations, because you have one of the best chances now of really learning about the aspects of natural health and really understanding in detail about the immune system, but we will talk about it to some degree today. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ariel Policano, and we're talking about the Genius Biofeedback System. The Genius Biofeedback System is a system that analyzes you from your voice and gets to tell you all the relevant things you need to know about what's going on at the present moment, and then gives you the perfect frequencies to balance anything that could be a little bit better. It's a great system. It's called a quantum biofeedback system. It helps to harmonize you in some ways. It works like homeopathy. It works like frequency and energetic medicine. It's a very, very powerful system in a very, very simple format. That's a mobile application, your phone, your tablet, and take it anywhere that you want to go. And anybody could do this. You don't need a health degree to use the Genius. Luckily, we identify imbalances in reds and blues. So if you can recognize red and blue colors, you can be a Genius practitioner, you can be a Genius user. It's open for everyone. We believe in the equilibration of access to information, and you should be able to access information about yourself. The Genius is a wonderful way to look at what's going on within you. So thank you everyone for being here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the immune system today. Really appreciate each and every one of you joining us. Remember, if you go to our events page and you can see what's going on our calendar, then we're going to have our podcast. Now it is at 6:30 on Thursday, and we are getting a good collection of guests. I want to thank Karen McDonald for joining me pretty much as my co-host for the next few weeks. And we talk about current events. We talk about things that we really can't talk about when we're live streaming to YouTube. So if you want to talk about things that are going on in our current environment, you want to sort of catch up, and really that's uncensored. We're able to talk a lot of things beyond the Genius, how to really strengthen yourself, how to be strong in the face of difficult times. So be sure to join us on that podcast. You can just click on the events page, it's totally free. And I think you'll be happy. We have a great conversation, but we're also going to be having amazing guests. So we're looking at having Sherry Edwards and Lynn McTaggart and other people real prominent in the community and some of our Genius practitioners so that we can really help each other and share information. One of the best things we can do today is get some communities going where we can share information. We don't want to be dependent on certain forces that be. We want to share as much information with each other. So thank you so much for being here. Also want to just show you a few other things on our website. So if you go to the Learn page, that's a real handy page, and you can see our blog. On our blog is where we post all of our recordings. So if you've ever missed a recording, you probably can find it on the blog or on my YouTube channel. So if you go to the blog, you can see that we have a training video for today, or a blog post for today. And it basically links to a great tutorial on the immune support process and actually a guide. So it links to an actual video that you can watch, which is a screen recording all about the immune support process. And then you can also link to a PDF, which tells you about the immune support process. So you can go to the blog at geniusbiofeedback.com and you can download both of those. We've sort of stopped uploading things into the webinar because if you come in late, you can't see anything I don't know why in this Zoom, maybe somebody can tell me if it's possible just to attach something that is permanent within the Zoom. If somebody knows how to do it, I can just upload a PDF that stays there for the whole Zoom. It's not in the chat, it's not in the Q&A. Go ahead and tell me how to do it. Otherwise, if you come in late, you're not going to see the chat. So we've stopped posting in the chat. So go to the blog, geniusbiofeedback.com, drop down on the Learn menu and go to the blog. Also on the Learn menu, if you're trying to reinstall, we would love to have you be able to take care of this yourself. So if you just maybe make a note somewhere that if you need the links for the Genius, you can go to our webpage that says Genius Reinstall Links. So it's off the Learn menu. Go to Learn, drop down, go to the Genius Reinstall Links, and all the links. So when you get your new iPad or for some reason you're stuck in the water and you're just going, gosh, I can't find this on the App Store. The Genius itself is the only thing that is not in the App Store at this point. Everything else, Water Harmonizer, all the other apps are in the App Store, and everything else is in the Google Play Store. So your Genius is in the Google Play Store. All the other side apps are in the Google Play Store, but the one thing that is not in the Apple App Store is the Genius itself. And so you can go to our reinstall links and you can have all the fun happen right there. All right, so let's see. All right, Nancy has volunteered, fantastic. We also have Catherine M, who's new to our community, who's volunteered. That's great. And so let's go back here for a second. Hello from Missouri. Hello, Annette. Thank you for joining us. Is it possible for the human body to excrete? This is something that would be much better asked Deborah in our podcast. So come to the podcast on Thursday because that'd be something better to talk about on the podcast, because good old YT, that's going to be looking at that question that you're asking. And so it'd be better if we talked about it on the podcast on Thursday. So bring that question to our podcast. And Sherry, welcome from South Florida. Thank you so much. Let us know if you've gotten the Genius. Have you gotten the Genius yet? Let us know. Okay, Nancy, we'll go with you. So Nancy, we're going to go ahead and do your scan for you in just a moment. I am going to be doing my scan from the older version today. And if you want to know how to retreat to the older version, you can send us a message and we have a whole article on that to tell you how to do that. I'm doing that because I just really have not had a chance to find out if everything is a-okay. On the new version, I've had some trouble sending libraries to our Library Discount Club. Library Discount Club, we're going to be having a class on the 15th, your bonus class. And the library this month is about a supercharged body shield. It's a system. It's 5 separate libraries that help you to alkalize, clean up your gut, really get everything, electrical flow going, get out all the stagnation. So we have that in our supercharged body shield new library that went out free to our Library Discount Club members. You can look under our memberships to learn more. And we will be posting that library to the general community shortly as well. So I'm going to go for the old version here, and hopefully we'll all be able to get on the new version real soon. In fact, I may be able to just do the voice recording. So the problem also is that we can't do the voice recording on Zoom. We can't do the voice or the picture on Zoom on the new version just yet. Maybe that's changed. They were working with the Zoom engineers. For those of you who have an online practice, you may have to pull the Genius off in order to do your voice recording if you do it live. If you do it from your Quanta capsule, you won't have to worry. That's very easy. But if you're actually on a Zoom and you need to record a voice and a picture, that could be problematic. You may have to just take the reflector off during the time that you're doing that particular piece of the puzzle. And I think you have to do it again for the picture. So I want to welcome everyone who's joining us for our class today. Please put your questions. What questions do you have about the Genius? I can answer your questions while I'm doing a scan. Questions that you would normally email us about it. We have a new policy that for questions about the Genius, about using your Genius, are either going to come to our weekly training or they're going to go to our Genius Biofeedback community. So you're really going to want to join that community. It's called our Genius Biofeedback Connect. If you're not in that community, we want to make sure you get the link so that you can join us there. We can share the link in just a moment. And we want you to send all of your questions. We're going to be answering that. I will be answering, staff will be answering in that community. So either bring them to class or bring them to our community. That's going to be really the new policy for, hey, I want to know how to do something with the Genius. And the reason for that is so that we can share all of that knowledge with our entire community. And that's really, really important. So let's just go ahead and look at the blog one more time. Those of you who came in a little bit past the hour, we have a blog that has all the information about our weekly training. And so if you go to this blog, you can download the process for today. We've actually made it into a video that you can watch. or you can just download the actual process. If you want to download it and then watch it on the video, you could do that too. The video is just a silent screen reporting. Oh, great. Screen recording that you can watch, and we have it on our YouTube channel. You can go to Ariel Policano on YouTube and watch all of that. Let's go ahead and see if we can just download this, and it's going to bring everything up again, I guess. All right. Gotta love technology when it works. Let's try to do that again. So we're just going to bring up this process here. There we go. And there's the Genius. So bring your questions, come armed with your good questions about the Genius that, hey, everybody would really like to know, not something that's going on your system in particular, but something that you'd like to know that would really enlighten the rest of our community. All right. So no questions. Nobody has any questions until we go off the webinar, then they all come to email. So if you have questions that are not answered for your Genius, this is a good time to ask them. Okay, can you talk about the new Genius accessory plate that you mentioned in one of our groups a few days ago, the Genius community or the blog? Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. And so any of your other questions, just keep the questions going. In the meantime, we can talk with Nancy. So Nancy, I know that you had volunteered, so let's just bring you up here as a panelist so you can join us. Okay, Kelly says, will you be doing a class specifically on the workings of the new program? I don't know if you know, Kelly, but I've actually done probably about half a dozen classes over the past few weeks that have all been about the new features. So every time that we did a weekly class, probably over the last 6 weeks, I did a class all about the new features of the Genius. So probably a really cool thing to do would be to go to my YouTube channel and go and look for some of those trainings because we've covered many of the new features. If you feel that I have not covered the new features of the Genius, what are the features in particular? To be really honest, there's not that many new features. There's only some different tweaks to the current features, like the general overview or the libraries. But per se, pound for pound, if you look at the Genius, there weren't that many new features, really. They were just things that we already had that were sort of updated or maybe modified in some way. So there weren't a whole heck of a lot of really, really new features that were added. Okay, so Nancy, we're trying to add you as a panelist. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but you should see that you're promoted to a panelist. So you might have to opt into that. Hope you're there. Hope you didn't go off to have a breakfast or anything, that you're still with us and you're able to join us. So Nancy, why don't you go ahead and join us here?
Unmute.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good, good. So what should we focus on for you?
Well, you know, I do have this disorder called autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and I've had it for many years. I had a blood transfusion in 2006 and received wrong blood, or received incompatible blood. And so I've been dealing with it ever since, but now I'm 71 and I made it this far. So, yeah, I have, you know, immune system stuff. I mean, when you look at me on the Genius, you'll not even know what to do, where to go first. There's so many things that are like not in balance, I guess, in a way, but I'm getting better.
Well, you know, we talk about this a lot in our Science of Manifestation class, that you seem very, very positive, and to remember that to always, the way to instantly begin to reverse any of these things is to switch that around and really look at it from all the amazing, like you started to say, you know, you're 71 and like, look what you've been able to, you know, get through and be resilient. And you always want to wake up and remember all the things that are working, because that sets the tone of the vibration. Our lives are all about momentum, and the momentum is created by the words that we say and also the frequencies that are around us, which is the Genius. And so the momentum is, oh my gosh, all the things that are right with me. My arm is working, my heart is beating, my eyes are seeing, I don't have any pain in my left leg. And that creates a very positive momentum. And that sort of like really, really brings everything. It's like a snowball. And so for you, it's just really, really good. Keep focusing on all those wonderful things that are going right.
Yeah. Yep, every day.
Okay, let's go ahead and record your voice. I'm going to ask you to say your name and then the vowels A, E, I, O, U. There's lots of patterns in your voice. And it is expressed when we listen to your voice. The patterns that are sort of all throughout your field come through in your voice, and they can be measured and assessed. So let's go ahead and let's record your voice. I'll start recording your voice in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
Nancy, A-E-I-O-U, 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 A-E-I-O-U. This is a good day, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E.
Okay, I like it. This is a good day. All right, so let's go ahead and see. I'm not having any issue with using this on the Zoom, which is fantastic. And I appreciate that. That's why I'm sort of on this old version here. And then we're going to go ahead and take your picture in just a moment here. So let's get ready to do that. And let's see if I can get that. So good smile from you there. All right.
You can see me. It's
All
frozen,
right.
kind of frozen, but that's good enough.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said smile and then I accidentally hit that button. Everything is so touch sensitive on your phone or your tablet.
Yeah.
I watched one YouTube video, and by the time I've watched 6 YouTube videos because I slightly touched my finger on my phone. All right. So what is an affirmation? We usually don't do the energetic entrainment, but let's do it for today. What is an affirmation that you can think of? What would be a good affirmation given what we sort of talked about?
I can see clearly that I am repairing.
Okay, what's a little, oh, that's good. I can see clearly that I am repairing.
Yes.
Okay, trying to get my Bluetooth to work. And when you use your genius, what libraries or do you find yourself going to? Are there any in particular?
Are you speaking to me?
Are there any libraries or panels in particular that are your go-to libraries?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk about some that might be. So let's go ahead and we'll let you sit back and relax and enjoy the show, and we'll come back and talk with you in a little bit, okay?
Yep.
All right, Nancy, thank you so much for volunteering. And thank you. I know you're also helping out Karen McDonald, and great support to her. So we really appreciate that. And so I want to let all of you know, we are looking at the older version of the Genius, and anyone can go back. You can go back and forth if you want to. You could have one device on the new version. You could have one device on the old version. The reason that I reverted back to the old version is because I wanted to be able to show this on my Zoom, and I was still having a few glitches with putting libraries in and having them save and things like that. So I went back to the old version. Anybody could do that, and you're safe to do that. If you want help with doing that, do send us an email, support@geniusbiofeedback.com. We'll maybe post that again in the Genius community area. And just make sure you're muted there. Nancy, I just muted you just so we don't have any of your just background noise. And thank you for that. And so we'll post it maybe in Facebook again, also in the community, the Genius Biofeedback community, that you can revert, whether you're Android or Apple, you can revert back to the old version. I do think the developer is through most of the bugs, but if you're having bugs that are affecting your day, Michelle said her app is crashing. The thing with the crashing is we just went on Apple, we went to 16.1 iOS. So you have to make sure your iOS, your operating system, is completely tip-top up to date, or you could have an issue. Oh man, speaking of issues, now we're crashing here. So we'll get this taken care of here and be back in just one moment. I'm gonna have to start using a different.
Wasn't supposed to snow today.
Okay, all right. Well, we're sort of back here, and with a strange setup, my other computer is not letting me come back on. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to continue in just a moment here. And Nancy, just make sure to mute yourself as we're getting back up and running. And in just a moment, we'll get our genius connected. Let's see if we can do that. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I apologize. I'm going to have to not maybe live stream from that computer anymore. Whoops. No. Yep. No. Okay. Our air. See if we can connect there. Skip this version. Kind of technology keeps you on your toes. The sad thing is, I know that you guys had a lot of things in the chat, and once again, Zoom is such a popular program, and it's really interesting that it has some real flaws to it. I almost think maybe GoToWebinar had maybe more better things about it, because I don't think you would lose the chat when you came back on. So if you had a pertinent question, I'm gonna have to ask you to retype it into the chat. And so think about your question. Was it a really pertinent one that you were sharing, or maybe you were just commenting in response? But go ahead and do add your comment or your question back. I would love to have some really good, juicy questions that we can answer today for the whole community. Oh gosh. You gotta love all of this. And then we'll go from there. So what is going on here with this participants? All right. Why are you still there? So let me just go ahead and Nancy, you're just going to see that you're back to an attendee. I just want to just sort of tidy everything up there. See if we can do that. That's a little bit better. Okay, so back to this. Okay, I didn't lose the connection or the chat. Michelle, I'm not talking about you. That's awesome that you didn't. I think it's hilarious. I'm talking about me so that I can't see the questions. So that's good that you didn't. I champion you that you didn't. I think that that's awesome. Good for you. That's great. So fantastic. All right, now let's just get back into this, get back into all the good stuff that we have going on here, see what we need to see. And let's go ahead and let's look at the aura for today for her. Again, once again, if you need to go back to the previous version, we can help you with that. Support at geniusbiofeedback.com. Support at geniusbiofeedback.com. We can help you revert back to the previous version. Really, I thought that everything would be handled by now. And so if you are having a bit of a hiccup, a headache, anything like that, just revert back to the older version, which was stable. You don't have to suffer through the headaches. And as we're getting all of the bugs out, you don't have to do that. You can stay on the stable version of the older version. It's completely up to you. We just want to invite you into a space where you can take care of your practice and your clients. Maybe you have it on one, maybe you have it on one device, that's the new version, so you can rock and roll and you can see all of our new things, but maybe you have the older version on the workhorse that you use for your clients every day. All right, so looking at this, it's a very interesting that she said hemolytic anemia, right? Because we sort of this almost like a blood kind of a color into the aura, which is very, very fascinating. And in general, there is some stagnation in this aura here. And so I have to get used to which computer I'm using. I had to jump on my laptop here. All right. So anyway, so we have this right here. There's sort of this streak of energy actually coming into the field. So there's some energy being pulled down, right, from their higher self. But then there's this black sort of gray here. So there's some stagnation that we want to see clear out of the aura. In general, there's this red. So a whole theme may be like, you know, the blood is the fluid of the body. It's how things travel through the body. It's a conduit. It's a means. And some people, it's even considered sometimes like a sort of connective tissue. And so she had autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and she's dealt with it for very long. So hemolytic is the breaking down of the blood cell, and somehow that has caused an anemia because the blood is not intact. Now, we are going to have a new club called the Process Club, and we're going to be introducing that very soon. And in Process Club, we're going to be resolving issues. So if you had autoimmune hemolytic anemia, we could come up with a unique process just for that condition. I think it's going to be really helpful. It's something that people ask for a lot. And so we'll be talking more about that. Let's go to the Q&A here. Okay, I found a plan online for libraries that is $47 a month and gives a $97 credit. So Julie, yes, you're referring to our library discount club. Our library discount club allows you to have a $97 coupon. However, that does expire at the end of the month. It goes each and every month. You can use it for $97 worth of libraries. It's $47 a month. And after you use your $97 coupon, you get another, after you use the coupon, you get another 20% off of any other libraries that you would like. You have to use the $97 first. We also give you a bonus library. This month, it's called the Supercharged Body Shield, in order to sort of protect yourself from the things that we're dealing with today. So the Supercharged Body Shield is another free library, and you get a free class. $47 a month, you can cancel it anytime. There's no obligation. You can do it for 1 month. You could do it for 12 months. It's just month to month. You can cancel, and you're good to go. We're easy to work with. Okay, next question. All right. So when one is looking at the person in the aura, is the figure facing us or looking away? Hi, Dana. Thank you so much for joining us again. We haven't seen you in a few months. So Dana, thank you for being here. So I'm sorry that you've been using the Genius since 2016. You didn't quite know that that person is actually looking at you. So when you see the picture, they're looking at you. That's exactly how they are in the aura. So see how she's looking at us? So she's looking at us. So then we would think of her left side being the right side of the screen and the other side being the left side of the screen. So she's looking at us. So over here is her left side and over here is her right side. Okay, so let's see what we've got in terms of the questions. All right, after the update of the software, the audio changed, and I'm not sure how to work it. Is there a new video training that I can access? Are you saying Angie or Angela? I'm not sure what your name is in there. Maybe you can tell us. It says Anglia. So it says that the software, I think you're maybe saying the aura changed. So the aura changed, but it's basically the colors are the same meaning, but we've been talking about the egg aura in class. So the best thing to do is to come to this class or watch the videos on my YouTube channel. All right. Okay. We did not lose the chat on our end as we stayed connected. Sophie, I know that. And what I'm talking about is for me to read the questions. I don't have the chat, but thank you very much for elucidating that. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get to the next question. All right, so I'm not liking the new Android version. If I want it to stay running in the background while I'm doing other things, it shuts down. And then it keeps dumping everything out of my tray when it shuts down on me. Maureen, other people have said this. This is something that you're just going to need to let the developer know that it's an issue. Now, let's just sort of slow down a little bit. See, I do all the training. I do a lot of training. We develop programs. I explain things. I try to make things simple. And then I'm actually a clinically trained naturopathic doctor. And then what I do is I try to explain things from a health perspective and give you natural health information. I'm not the developer. I don't code. I don't do any of that. I don't even make one decision at all about what is done in the development or the changes of the Genius, because I'm not included in that decision process whatsoever. That is made at the very top. And that top is called Ryan Williams. He's the developer. And so if you have a problem like that, you're going to want to maybe get his email address, which we can provide for you, and then send him a message that that is an issue. It sounds like a bug that needs to be dealt with. And I'm sure he'd be more than happy to deal with that and take care of it and resolve it. But the only thing I can offer to you for right now is that you revert to the previous version. If you would like a resolution, one that I could provide for you at this moment, it would be to back your Android up to the previous version, and then you could keep everything in your main whole tray. That's the only solution I can offer to you. I can't wave any magic wand or make it any different. I do apologize for that. Michelle says, you see what's coming in from the left and going out on the right. That's the general information that we were given just in an understanding of what auras are, that generally the human energy field receives things through the left side and sort of releases things through the right side. So that's a general understanding that things sort of get taken into the left and out to the right. There's, as I'm sure many of you who have been here over the years know, that I've always said that the aura is just something to show your client before and after. It's not a standalone aura program. We don't want to look at the fuzz in our navel and navel gaze all day. We just want to take a general screenshot and give some general information. Hey, there's some stagnation, there's some gray, there's some black, things are cloudy. I see things associated with the second chakra. I see things associated with the heart chakra. Take a screenshot of it and then go back and do your session. Don't stick with this or obsess about it. It's not meant to be a very precise, complete interpretation of the aura. So I don't know, Sophie's answering a question that I can't get to, but it says, whenever we change our device, we need to log out of the old device first. Yes, that's absolutely true. And that will help you to be able to log into your new device. So Sophie, good job. Thank you for helping people in the chat. It's very kind of you. All right, all right, I have an old iPad with the iOS 12.6. Yeah, you will not be able to get your Genius on this old of an iPad. This is not anything the Genius can deal with, unfortunately. This is a planned obsolescence issue from Apple. So you're going to need a newer Apple iPad that can upload, can be updated at least to something like 15 now, but I would recommend 16.1. The Genius is at least $1,000 program at its base. You're using really a program that could be valued at conceivably $10,000. Even just the base program, because it's on par with things like the Life System and the Zyto. So I know it's really hard. I know people are struggling. I know finances can be tight, but I really implore you, please, when you can, when Lakshmi or abundance rains down gifts upon you, get the very best device that you can for your Genius, because that is the machinery that holds your software. Get the best device that you can afford when you can do it. But you're going to want one that updates to 16.1 because you're going to have the least problems with it crashing. Nancy says, I still like the old aura. You guys, let's have some productive questions, please. Some productive questions, okay? Liking the old aura, things like that, personal problems with the Genius. Let's have something that we can contribute to our wonderful community. What's the purpose of the shungite plate? The reason we have a shungite plate is just a real nice, solid piece of shungite is because you can put your remedy plate on it, or you could put your Genius on it. And what it does is it strongly protects that from EMF. So if there are any aberrant energies or EMFs, or say you're imprinting something, you can pull all of that aberrant energy out, really ground what you're doing by having that nice chunk of shungite underneath. So that's what the shungite tablet, that's what the purpose of it is for. Okay. Okay, Sophie, thank you for clarifying what your comment was for. I really, really appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for helping people in the background. Thank you very, very much. I see the plate now. I think it amplifies the frequencies. Thank you very much, Michelle. It doesn't amplify the frequencies, it just grounds them, but I appreciate you trying to help. That's awesome. Okay, I will email to find out how to go back to the old version. Okay, thank you so much. The panel on the new version is very hard on the eyes. Who said that there? Madeline. You know what? I totally agree with you. Again, not any of my comments are very well assimilated into what happens with the genius. And so I feel as desperate and like as sad as you, unfortunately. So the best thing you can do is just email the developer and give him your feedback that it's hard on the eyes. I totally agree. Like, why did we go from this black background to the other one? No idea. No clue. Don't know. And what can I say? It is what it is. All right, use some blue blocking glasses to help you, because you always want to just deal with life on life's terms. And so if it is that way for now, then get some glasses that maybe could block it, or use or dial down the brightness of your screen. All right, so let's keep going. Can there be too much energy flowing out of a client? Is there a way to tell that it is the case? How do we know that the energy is holding? I'm not even sure if my question is relevant. Yeah, Deborah, you're sort of worrying about things you don't need to worry about. We give the genius frequencies to people and it works with their innate intelligence. Their innate intelligence is the higher part of themselves that has all the wisdom. It will take in what frequencies it would like and then let go whatever frequencies that it's not ready to take on or not appropriate this time. You don't have to be the all-knowing person to manage whether their energy is flowing in or out. You just simply run the frequencies, and they're very subtle, very gentle frequencies, and what is needed will be taken in, and what is not needed will not be taken on. Can you please talk about the green laser for clearing? I can't remember what it was. You said it was a while back. So Margaret, the green laser is just when people are using the remedy plate. When they're, I guess we'll probably have another remedy plate class coming up so we can introduce, especially because we have some really cool new plates. They're not, let me see if I can find them here. Yeah, we have some new plates that we really probably want to show off better during a class, because we have this new plate. It's a double, you can't really see, but we can show some pictures. It's a double copper coil contained within here, which is really powerful. And then we have a triple plate, tesseract plate, which is really powerful. We do want to talk about these in a class so that you can really get them and understand and grasp them. But the green laser is when you imprint a band. So when you imprint a band, or if you imprint some media, a bracelet, you can take that green laser and you can just clear out the energy. That's the purpose of the green laser. Okay, my favorite affirmation is I am physically, mentally, and emotionally happy. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Maureen. Can you use individual libraries, or do you have to scan the entire library? So if you wanted to, you could just add one library at a time, Inanna, if you wanted to do that. But the reason that we scan all the libraries at one time is so that you can search through the libraries for the ones that you want. So we scan all the libraries at one time so that we can look at the libraries and then see which ones we want. So here, she was dealing with some autoimmune things. So we could go here and just type in autoimmune. And so I may want to go to autoimmune. I may want to go to immune. I may want to go to blood. I don't know. So that's why I scan all the libraries at one time. But if you wanted to, you could create a master branch of only the libraries that you want to include. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can find out all about master branch. I created a tutorial video just for the master branch, and we can look at that in just a moment. So for her, we could look at autoimmune assessment, and we could look at the autoimmune antibodies, and we could harmonize those for her. And then we could look at the assessment So part of the reason that her autoimmunity may be acting up could be a casein intolerance, an H. pylori infection, thyroid antibodies, EMF frequencies, and an iodine deficiency. If we go down to the lower, it may be also due to a gluten intolerance, estrogen dominance, myelin antibodies, and mercury toxicity. We really talk a lot about these in the practitioner program. There's a whole practitioner course on autoimmunity, and we talk all about molecular mimicry and all the reasons that people could get autoimmune conditions. All right, so I don't know why it's doing this. All right. What's the difference between the Quanta capsule available on the website versus the Quanta capsule available in the App Store? There's no difference, Annette. But Annette, what you want to do is you want to work from your Quanta dashboard. So let me just show that to you. That's finally a good question. That's a great question. So I'm going to go to my navigation bar here. And under the navigation bar, we see Quanta membership. I like to call it the Quanta dashboard. I don't know why it's called a membership, but let's just say Quanta dashboard, like a control panel. And then we don't need to see all of this. And we don't need to be reminded about the video. Anyway, all right, so our Quanta dashboard is where we could purchase a Quanta capsule, or we could purchase several at one time. The reason that we like to go to our Quanta dashboard is that we could have a client in front of us who wants a Quanta capsule, and we could immediately provide one for them. They pay you, and then you use those funds to actually purchase it from your dashboard where you can activate it immediately. The capsules it can also be, when there are specials like we did for Black Friday, when there are specials, you can purchase them from the website, and then we place them into your Quanta dashboard for you. But your client could also purchase it from the App Store. They're absolutely welcome to do that. You're not able to activate it for them immediately. So it's better if it comes from you, from your dashboard. All right, so let's see. Actually, that's a lot of the questions that were asked. Okay, if there are any other questions, then go ahead and type them in, particularly about the Genius. Can the remedy plate bands be reused? How do you clear them? So Tammy, that intersects with another question that was asked about the green laser from Margaret. And so we use that green laser in order to clear the bands. What Android update does the Genius need to be on? Julie, the best thing to do is to make sure that you go to your Genius inside your Android and switch it to auto update. Auto update. I want to ask if I can run the frequencies to someone. They cannot hear it since they are far away. Does the healing still work well? I know you mentioned that you can do it with headphones. So the Genius runs in a scalar broadcast radionics fashion. That means anytime you have a client inside your Genius, you can just hit the button and you can run it for them remotely. I know we have a lot of questions coming in on the Q&A, so let's see if we have some questions here. Oh, Julie, they're all your questions. That's great. Okay, does the weekly training end on January 30th? No, that's just we just haven't reset the Zoom. All right. All right, you already asked your other questions here. Why does it say that there are 7 questions? So some other ones here. Let's just check here. And okay, so that's actually good. So we're through those. That's wonderful. Let's go back to little Nancy here. And let's look at Nancy. Let's look at some solutions for her. It says some krill oil, some magnesium, some proteolytic enzymes, vitamin D. Vitamin D, really, really good for anyone with autoimmunity. We know that multiple sclerosis by far is more prevalent in the more northern latitudes. And we should take that concept and also probably apply it to other autoimmune conditions. That there was a book that I don't know if it's still available on Amazon, where this guy experimented with taking 50,000 international units of vitamin D for an entire year. And I'm not recommending that, but it's just a point that his health improved markedly from doing that. And he just writes his anecdotal story about that. But I think it really shows how much we need vitamin D. Hey, if you're not sure, just run the frequency of vitamin D for yourself. I think that could be really powerful. Lactobacillus acidophilus, zeolite, bentonite clay, bifidus probiotic. So for anyone with an autoimmune disease where the immune system is dysmodulated, it's irregular, it's not correct, it's overreacting to the body, what we want to do is balance it in some significant way. And so to balance out the gut microbiome, that what we want to do is we want to repopulate the gut microbiome. And remember, even if you've taken one antibiotic in your life, the doctor should have told you, hey, you're taking a round of antibiotics, you need to take these probiotics for 6 months. 6 months without stopping, you need to take the probiotics, but nobody ever did that. So our gut microbiome was permanently altered and never really corrected. So the person might not need to be on good gut bugs like for a year to really repopulate their gut. Then we have zeolite and bentonite clay, and this is suggesting that there's some type of toxic process going on in the gut. It's not a diagnosis, but this is just a suggestion of both zeolite and bentonite clay. These are going to, they're called like AD, as D as in dog, adsorbents. And what they do is they really pull into themselves all the toxins that are surrounding them as you take the clay. Clays have been used in cultures for centuries, and probably part of all of our diet and remedies, we should be having some clay in there, sort of rotated in, because it would help to really reduce the burden of whatever is going on in our gut. Anytime that we eat and we don't completely digest the food, the metabolic waste is creating a toxin within the body. And if you're a meat eater, you need to be even more careful. If you're not fully digested it and eliminated, they're very, very toxic substances that are the metabolites of those high protein foods. And then bifidus probiotic is really interesting because it helps to reduce inflammation particularly. And we typically do see people who have autoimmune conditions needing more of the bifidus in the probiotics and not the acidophilus. All right. So when I tap on autoimmune energetic solutions, it goes to entangled insights. That is a bug in your program, Dale-Ann. Please delete it and reinstall. And if it persists, be sure to email the developer immediately and let him know of this issue. So that isn't supposed to be happening. Okay, Kata says, my elderly father, 96, has been told to take an antibiotic for the rest of his life. Suggestions about the probiotic. We've suggested in the practitioner courses, we've suggested one called Claire Labs. So Klaire. It's really a practitioner level grade, Claire Labs. And we have one called Ther-Biotic, Ther Biotic. And then one you could just easily get from Amazon would be through Premier Research Labs. And Premier Research Labs, I think it's just called Probiotic. So their Premier Labs probiotic would be an easy one to obtain. Okay, so let's just think now what we created this other series called the Autoimmunity Harmonization series. And the purpose of this one was to go through a series of steps in order to revitalize the system to mimic the steps that we would do in naturopathic medicine. So we have the autoimmunity harmonization session 1, that's meant to be like session 1 with the client, immunity reset. Can we reset the immune system with these different interventions? So sarsaparilla, glutamine to help to stabilize the gut, balance the white blood cells, use a mushroom, reishi, deal with lymph stasis, which we may have seen in the aura, and then get Th1 immune system balance. That's the immune system dominance. So I think all of these things would be really, really good for her. And then I would include some of these yellows here. All right, so let's include that. We had a bonus class on Friday for the Library Discount Club, and we talked all about the German New Medicine, the emotional clearing library that we have now. We talked all about that, but we combined it. We made this whole really cool table, and we combined it with other libraries. And I want to talk about a couple of those libraries in the last few minutes that we have here. So these are all things to basically stabilize the immune system. In an autoimmune condition, your immune system has become confused, stressed, and overreactive. So we want to correct the immune system in some way. That's the goal of these particular frequencies. And then we go to nervous system, and the health of the nervous system cannot be emphasized enough, especially now. There's an overall stress on our immune system because of global events that it really, you have to take more time to meditate, more time to get out in nature, and more than ever, for something we're going to be talking about in the Thursday podcast, the powers that be want everything that you do to be dialed in to the device that you carry. So times, now we want you to use your genius and enjoy it. You can even use your genius offline. You could just turn it to the offline mode. But I really want you to take some time to go out in nature without your device. So sometimes just try not carrying your device. Sounds crazy, but pull out the old CD player and turn off your phone and just play music on a record player or a CD player. Don't allow everything that you do to be uploaded to the knowledge-based system that's trying to collect all of your data. Remember to take some time to really, really relax and really, really get some downtime to work on your nervous system. So the nervous system is really highly under stress at this moment, and that's going to relate to an autoimmune condition reaction. If you have a susceptibility in your immune system, that's your weak spot. So this tonifies the immune system. Then we move on to a digestive cleanse. Anytime, if you became an expert in gut cleanup, you could probably heal people from 70 to 80% of all conditions, from the common cold to cancer. If you became an expert at helping people to clean up their gut and detox, you could probably heal people 80%, 70 to 80% from people who have a cold, yes, a cold, all the way to cancer. The gut is really where all disease forms and where all of our problems start. And so this would be part and parcel of an autoimmunity healing, would be to, glutamine really helps to feed the gut enterocytes to heal leaky gut. Berberine helps to combat infections. Look at the Rife frequency 1550 hertz comes up and says intestinal inflammation. I'm more convinced now that there's gut inflammation for Nancy going on, because we saw that the bifidus bacteria came up and that reduces intestinal inflammation. Now we have a frequency for intestinal inflammation coming up. And this is how you start to get the stronger confidence that what your genius is saying is correct, and that particular information on the genius is more relevant than not relevant. So we've got the small intestine, suggesting the small intestine is, inflamed or impaired in some way. Apex Energetics Resveratrol, I'm glad this came up. This is a really, really good product for anybody with an autoimmune condition. The Resveratrol is from resveratrol, but it's backed to a lipid. It's backed to a fat, which is resveratrol with the medium chain triglycerides. And that's a really good supplement for stabilizing the immune system. It's used more in Hashimoto's, but my suspicion is it could be used in any autoimmune condition. Then there's that zeolite again, and some other things working on the thyroid, beet powder, oil of oregano. I think that there are some underlying gut bugs going on based on what I'm seeing. And then the final one, which is solutions. So some things, some really good, you're really drawn to mushrooms. So mushrooms are something that are really drawn to your field. Yeah, it's amazing that just working from my laptop does not crash at all. So I may be doing more of my webinars just from my laptop, because at least it doesn't crash. I have a beautiful M1 based mini, and it unfortunately is crashing, as you know. So I don't want these webinars to crash. So I may just do these from my laptop in the future. Nettles is really interesting. Look at that number 1. Let's just slow down and look at that. We're going to be wrapping up maybe in a few minutes here. But isn't it fascinating that nettles is a 1? So as a practitioner, you look at that and you're like, that means that the resonance connection is like one of the strongest that you could have. When that nettles is at a 1, it means it's very strongly attracted to that person. Now, nettles is something that Rudolf Steiner wrote a lot about, nettles in anthroposophical medicine. And nettles has a sex hormone binding globulin in it, so it can help to balance hormones. And it really is good for silica. And silica is really an amazing mineral that we just don't get enough of. It's typically used for hair, skin, and nails, but it could also be related to the immune system. And then we have lion's mane. So a lot of the mushrooms, the medicinal mushrooms, came up for you, Nancy. I think your body has an affinity or an attraction to medicinal mushrooms. They probably would work out really well for you. So we would want to include the sacred frankincense, the astragalus, the lion's mane. Let's see if we can get some emotional connections here. So instead of using the flower essences at the moment, let's see if we can use, we have one called emotional anatomy. So we have one called emotional anatomy, releasing trapped emotions. Let's see if we can get it come right up to the top there. Emotional anatomy, releasing trapped emotions. I now release any imbalances in my vessels and circulatory system that is related to apprehension. Now we can tap on it once, and that's a 777. That's the highest you can go. Look at this one. So remember, it's autoimmune hemolytic anemia. I know it goes to Entangled Insights, but if you look at the top, you can actually read it. Oh, don't tell me that this crashed too. Okay, I now release imbalances in my vessels and circulatory system that are related to apprehension about things I know I must get done. So Nancy, do you ever worry like, I just can't get the list done? When am I going to get this all done? How am I going to take care of things? So that stressor may be related to the physical manifestation of issues in the vessels and circulatory system, which could be related to the hemolytic anemia. You know, we're doing our best to sort of make these connections. It doesn't mean that they're all a slam dunk. Let's look at this one. I now release any imbalances related to my vision, I now release any imbalances about vision, which may be related to not being able to see a joyous future ahead. So you want to make sure that you're envisioning that, hey, the years that are coming are the best years ever. And when you wake up every day, say that famous expression, this is the best day ever. You thought yesterday was good. This is going to be the best day ever. Whatever you say comes true. Proclaim it and claim it. I am now ready to release any imbalances in my lungs that may be related to feelings of irritation. It is safe for me to express emotions in healthy ways. So let's include these three and see where it comes up in progressive insights. Each one is a big, big, big chunk, right? Big, big piece. My knees become less painful. My knees become less painful and more able to move easily as I'm willing to give in and compromise for more peace in my life. I release the pain in my ankles that is rooted in inflexibility in my life. I become more flexible, knowing that I'm safe and cared for in all the decisions that I make. This library is called Emotional Anatomy. It is available on the website. It's called Releasing Trapped Emotions. So these are the metaphysical connections to different physical ailments and the emotional wound or issue that may be related to it. I now allow the release of burdens I'm carrying in my shoulders. And so I carry responsibility in my life joyously. I can now release the burden. So if you have rounded shoulders or tight shoulders, let's go right into progressive insights and let's see what comes up at the highest level. Gluten allergy affects clear. Is it possible you've had any gluten, Nancy? Let me know in the chat. Beet powder helps with methylation, and methylation helps with detoxification. Beet powder, beets, kvass, which is made from fermented beets, actual fermented beets, all of those are really, really 5-star remedies. And it really helps with something called methylation because it adds trimethylglycine, which comes from beet powder, and that helps with detoxification and the regulation of hormones. Beet in general is very good for liver health and bowel health as well. Immune system balance, clearing lymph stasis. Let's see if we can balance this for a minute. And it's so much better unfortunately, in this reverted version because it doesn't crash when we use the reflector, which is handy. Mercury toxicity is something I talked about on the podcast on Thursday night. This idea that we want to be so, there's so much shenanigans going on, you guys. We need to talk about it. This idea that carbon is the worst thing ever to be output in the environment, and now we better track you to measure your carbon footprint, is complete shenanigans. We can talk about more why on the podcast. But the thing is that the thing is much more concerning is how much mercury has been put into the environment. How can you avoid that mercury or clear it from the system? So mercury is a known neurotoxin and has a lot of other serious effects on the body. We should be much, much more concerned about mercury in our environment and preventing that than about the CO2 footprint, in my humble opinion. We can talk about why. Balancing the white blood cells, vitamin D, back to vitamin D. You know, you can get your vitamin D levels measured. And so Nancy, I'd be curious if you've had it measured recently. But again, there's all types of controversy now about even getting maybe your blood measurements. Who knows who's going to be using that information? That is important for people who are getting their labs. But, you know, maybe using the Genius to balance it and see if it goes from red to blue to green and yellow. So, you know, that's sort of moving into balance. Sarsaparilla is a really good for balancing the immune system. It's also good for the kidneys, and there's more lactobacillus acidophilus. So after getting a 66% rectification, that's a high rectification on the older version. I'm surprised to see it go so high. So Nancy, you are doing really good at running the energy through your field. Let's go ahead and see where this ends up. And then Nancy, we'll bring you back on here. I'm just going to open up your microphone so we could just talk with you. So just to make it easier for you, and just maybe let me know where this information is landing. Did it match for you? Tell me, you know, just give me your perspective. Let me just get to your, there we go. We're just going to open up your microphone here just to make it like a little bit easier. All right, there we go. Okay, Nancy, what are your thoughts about the information coming up for you?
Really truthful, bang on. Well, I didn't mention though why I hemorrhaged and I got the bad blood, but before that I had lung cancer. And so I've survived that for almost 20 years now. And I never had chemo or radiation. I had an upper right lobectomy. And anyway, I started using the Genius about, I guess, 12 years ago when I met Karen. And every time she ran through town, I used it again. And then she's worked on me remotely several times. And I started using beet powder about a year ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm so much better. I have one blood test that I get called haptoglobin, and that measures the rate that you're hemolyzing at. And for the first time in, I'm going to say 10 years, it's lessening by a huge amount. So I may be able to go off the prednisone. I've been on low dose prednisone for all these years. And so that's what motivated me to buy a Genius and become my own success story in a way. And I just want to help everybody else with the same.
That's awesome. That is so great. Well,
I'm very much
wonderful.
better.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering today. And I love the ending aura. It's so light and bright and fluffy and relaxed. And so this is a wonderful ending to the session. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I love it, and I want to share it with as many people as I can. It's hugely different in my life, huge difference. Yeah.
I love it. Well, you're so positive. All of your positivity is bubbling over. I'm going to let you go here, but thank you for being part of our class today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was wonderful to have Nancy be a part of the class and volunteer. She just got her Genius, so big congratulations. And thank you to Karen for referring her and bring her into the fray here and introducing her, because she's really able to help herself. And that's the whole goal. Medicine should not be relegated to people in like the ivory tower and only people at 10 years of education or 12 years of education. It's only them. They're the only ones that can heal you. No. It's always been traditionally indigenous. You can learn to heal yourself, your family. You can learn all of this. It's all in the earth. It's all around us. It's the lifestyle changes. It's the herbs, all the things you can do. And the Genius helps to guide you in. It helps you to focus on what you need to focus on. If you can read magazine articles and internet articles all about different remedies and different things that are good for you, the Genius will help you to cut to the chase and go to the things that are really important. The Genius is a really, really important instrument in the world and the time that we're living in. and we want to teach you how to make the most of it and utilize it. I'm glad we got back on here, and looks like my laptop's going to be the one of choice for doing these classes. Make sure to join us on the podcast on Thursday. And we are going to have some upcoming other programs that we'll be announcing soon for the holidays and then into January. So thank you everyone for being part of our Genius Biofeedback community. I love hanging out with you on Monday. We're going to post this to the blog and to our YouTube channel. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye for now.